Okay, we're going to bring in Rocco from the Grue room.
Hey,
Hello, how are
how's it
you?
going? Good, good.
Good. What have
Thank
you
you,
got for
thank you.
us?
I for Daria, like, I want to ask for someone who actually like train very hard for this because I tried doing like the mixed martial arts and it was like a lot for me, and I applaud you for all the hard work and hard training you do for it. Is there anyone like you would love to fight for for this? Like, is there anyone you would love to get in there and test your training with?
Oh,
I love this question.
yeah, this is hard. Who would I want to fight?
Yes.
Megan's a badass and three weight classes above me, so that's out of it. Um, would
I could never.
um, I don't know. That's a really hard question because now I mean, like, I'm thinking of iconic veterans that I'd want to fight just for the nostalgia of that and to be able to
Mhm.
say I did. And then the current rosters are stacked across the board. So I don't know. That's really hard. I'm going to go like in a magical world, just dream opponent based on, from when I was a child, Gina Carano, because she was an idol of mine.
Okay, cool. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
No worries. Thank you so much, Rocco. Okay, we have SP3 of True Heel Heat.
Hello, Hello, ladies. How you doing?
Hello, welcome in. What have you got for us?
I just wanted to ask Daria, with all the experience that you had, in the professional wrestling world, and you've mentioned Michael Cole in the past, and I've heard you on commentary in the past, and you've had different roles like a manager and authority figure. How, like, those roles in professional wrestling you think is going to help you, or what did you learn in those roles that will help you as a commentator for Invicta?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that I've learned in my 10 years in WWE was the ability to improvise. It being a live show, there was no second takes. It was like if you had a script to memorize and you forgot your lines, you had to figure it out there. Same with doing commentary. And when I was in the GM role, sometimes the script would be 5, 6 pages, and we're going live at 7, and we get, at 8, and we get the script at 7:45. So a lot of that was just learning to be confident and know what you're talking about so that you can say what you need to say when the time comes. So I'm hoping I garnered enough skills there to transition me over to commentary and Invicta.
So one other follow-up question. Since you have this partnership with Invicta and TNA Wrestling, is there any chance that you will make an appearance to kind of bring over some fans from TNA over to Invicta?
Wait, there's a partnership?
Or
I'm, I'm, jo-
association, some
I'm
association.
joking. I'm joking. No, because that's the elephant in the room. Everyone's asking about. Yes, of course. I think that there's a huge opportunity for crossover. We had Invicta champion Moose at the last event, so that was really cool. And I don't know, maybe I'll go to a TNA event soon. Who knows? Maybe I'll bring Megan with me.
Your bodyguard.
Have you
We
been to
just
Thank
one?
you so much.
we did discuss this. We did just
Yeah,
I haven't been to one, no, but we did discuss this.
we're gonna
That
be a
what
tag
our
team.
what our tag team would be, yeah.
I need to know your tag team name. I'm sorry, I had to ask
That's
So
that's
we
that's still a work in progress. We haven't
That's
got
to
that
be
far.
determined. Yeah. We just said that, I would talk the crap and Megan
I
would
would be
fight
the
my fights for
muscle.
me. Yeah, she would just destroy everybody.
Thank you so much, ladies. Appreciate your time.
No worries.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Okay, we're gonna bring in George from the Wrestling Chatter, who will be our final question for the teleconference. George,
I
welcome
know
in.
why
How are
she's
you?
laughing. Wow, I'm good.
George
How
is
are
an
you,
old
Megan?
friend of mine. Oh my God, you're so silly that you're on here.
I am here to bring up the fact that you were at an Invictus show a little over 10 years ago. I even have a cute little picture from,
I
that day prior
said
to the ring
that.
light.
You
Um,
She's
brought me,
my
George.
Shayla, my Shayla. She's just a baby.
I
yeah, we,
went
we,
with
we all went together.
George. Yeah.
So my question for you, and I do have a follow-up, is what is this like now, maybe going a little full circle, being
Hmm.
in the crowd as a fan, or not just as a fan, but we were on this side, or you were on this side of the of the railing, just asking questions to Fabricio Verdun. I think DeAnna Bennett was also on the card as well. So what is it like now full circle? Yeah, exactly. What is it like full circle now being on that side and being on, now, on air Invicta talent doing the commentary and whatnot?
I don't know. You just made me really happy that you came on here and reminded me of that, because I was telling the story earlier and I was like, when was that? But we went together to an Invicta fight back in the day when we were hosting, our MMA podcast, and I was actively fighting. And yeah, it's kind of surreal. It's kind of surreal. It's making me a little emotional, I'm not gonna lie, just to have gone the course that I've gone the last 10 years and to be back here in a different way, and hopefully a way that will be impactful and meaningful both for me and for the company. So I'm excited, and yeah, it's very nostalgic.
So speaking of which, when is Invicta coming back to Los Angeles? I think it's time to, Kansas City is getting a little too much Invicta. Come on back to Los Angeles here and there.
That's true. We got to talk to Shannon, Megan. We're not in charge of that, but
I was like, that's above my pay grade.
That's above our pay grade, but we got to talk to the boss lady, because yeah, that would be pretty cool. Where was it, George, when we went?
It was at the Shrine Auditorium, which was
yeah,
so right near USC.
Okay.
But there's a lot of venues. Megan, tell your bosses up high that Los Angeles is craving for an Invicta show here and there.
I think you think I have more power than I do. I really
but you do have their contact infos.
That's a valid point.
We do.
Daria, you have them too.
We do.
No,
but yes, thank you so much. Obviously, Daria, happy for you. Like I said, it does feel like a full circle moment now that you're, part of the Invicta team. So can't wait to watch that, and can't wait to hear your insight that I've been known for over a decade already.
Thanks, George. Love you.
Thank you so much, George. Guys, well, thank you to everyone who tuned in and who joined us for this teleconference. It was amazing to have so many questions from all around the world. Absolutely love having Daria with us and the insight that she can provide, transitioning from, MMA to pro wrestling and the entertainment factor that you can bring to the broadcast. I'm very excited, but guys, make sure to tune in to Invicta FC 62. Lehner versus Rubin goes down live this Friday, 16th of May. Main cast starts at 8 p.m. Eastern time, only on CBS Sports Network. So we'll see you guys then, guys.
Thanks, guys. Bye. Thanks, Megan.
Something in the air, it's already begun.
Welcome in, guys, to the Invicta FC 62 media teleconference. I am Megan Anderson. I'll be your host for this session. Daria Berenato will be joining me in a minute, but very excited to be here. Obviously, there's a lot of hype around this Friday. Obviously, Invicta goes down in Kansas City. We're returning to where it all began on Friday, the 16th of May. Prelims will be starting at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Main card will be at 8 p.m. Eastern on CBS Sports Network. But we're going to go through a rundown of the card quickly. There was one bout that has fallen off the card. So Ashley Yoder and Abril Anguiano will no longer be on this card. Anguiano had an injury, so unfortunately that bout is off. So a little bit of reshuffling in terms of the bout order. So the lone prelim now will be Charlsey versus Alexandra Lawal, both of them making their pro debut. So very excited to see them really take the next step in their careers this Friday. But main card, we're going to start off with Ashley Barrett versus Quinn Williams in a strawweight bout. Milana Dudieva versus Amanda Torres at Flyweight. We've got DeAnna Bennett and Rayla Nascimento in the co-main event. Very excited about this one at Flyweight. And then obviously in the main event, we have a massive bantamweight bout between Katharina Lehner and Olga Rubin. So I'm going to bring Daria in with us now as we're joining. She's going to join us for the first time on the broadcast. So this is going to be the second time we'll have an all women's commentary team. So obviously myself and Julie Kedzie have been a staple for a little bit now, but we're adding a third, Daria Berenato, formerly known as Sonya Deville from the WWE. She's going to be coming on board. I'll be taking point as play-by-play, but Daria, how excited are you to be part of this moment?
Well, I'm not gonna lie, I'm geeking out a little bit because I did grow up watching Julie Kedzie and I have watched Megan Anderson as well. So I'm a little bit of a fan. No, you guys are both badasses and I'm a fan. So first and foremost, I'm honored to be side by side with the two of you. But also I just feel like Invicta has kind of been at the forefront of the women's evolution in sports in general, specifically MMA. So to be part of an all-female broadcast on a promotion like this, I'm really excited.
Well, we're excited to have you. Obviously, we've got a stacked card this Friday. Also, before I ask you this next question, for all the media in here, make sure to kind of virtually wave your hand if you have a question. So when we get to that, we'll be able to put you in to make sure you answer you get to ask those questions. But Daria, obviously stacked card, got a couple of big fights and some of them with like potential title implications for the winner. What are your thoughts on this whole card, like as a whole?
Yeah, so I'm not gonna lie, the bar was set very high at my last Invicta appearance. I was at Invicta 61. You were there, obviously, and I think every bout but the main event ended in a finish. Only one went to decision. So
Yep.
it was like fireworks from start to finish. I was blown out of the water. I haven't been to a live MMA event probably prior to that 5, 6 years. So it was really exciting just to feel the atmosphere in the air. I think Invicta FC is where stars are born. I think it's where people really get the opportunity to garner their craft. Like you said, whether it's their pro debut or like DeAnna Bennett, her 16th, 17th Invicta appearance. You know what I mean? I feel like it's really a place where female MMA stars are born. And so I'm excited. Stacked card from top to bottom. I don't think I could even pick a favorite if I tried, but there are a few that I'm specifically looking forward to.
Well, it's crazy that you mentioned like that last event. It was pretty much all finishes except for one fight. The crazy thing is the event before that, there was no finishes. They all went the distance, but every single fight was a back and forth absolute banger. So like that's the beauty of Invicta is, yeah, we like to see exciting finishes, but I love women in mixed martial arts because we bring a different intensity and ferocity that I think that we may not see sometimes from our male counterparts, and they go in and it might be 15 minutes, it might be 25 minutes, but they are slugging it out. Like they are going 100%. For the finish. Like I love it. But obviously we're going to talk about this card. I got to talk about the co-main event. You mentioned DeAnna Bennett. We have a classic wrestler versus striker matchup. DeAnna Bennett, obviously very well known for her wrestling. She holds the record for the most wins in Invicta history. She's been around for a very long time. Invicta FC 8 was when she debuted, and that was back in 2014. I know, very long time. But obviously, she's taking on Rayla Nascimento, who very impressive in her last fight against Victoria Leonardo. She is I believe she has the potential to be a future star. So very much a vet versus prospect type thing. With the flyweight belt currently vacant, what are you expecting to see from both of these ladies?
So I completely agree with you. Watching Rayla Nascimento, I was blown away. I think she's a woman who understands the kind of perfect blend. And maybe I'm biased coming from the sports entertainment background, but she understands what it means to entertain inside and outside of the cage. She dances on her way to the cage. I like that she has that little swagger and confidence about her. So I'm super excited to see this fight. And of course, DeAnna Bennett, like we said, a staple of Invicta at this point. I like when there's a title vacancy because I think it lights a fire under the butts of all the girls in the weight class across the board. And I like that. I think that, like you said, the women go out there every time swinging for the fences, trying to make a name for themselves and get on, get higher up on the card. But in this match, I feel like both these girls, neither one is new to the Invicta cage, but I feel like it's now time for them to either step up or step out. And I think they're ready to show that they're the next one for that contention for the title.
No, 100%. But we're going to bring in the Knockouts and Three Counts podcast to ask their questions. So we'll bring them in quickly. Hello.
Hello. Thank you guys for having me.
No, shoot. Like, what have you got for us?
So here's what I got. So Daria, first of all, thank you for the time. My question, first of all, with us covering pro wrestling and the combat sports, with you coming fresh out of WWE, what made Invicta the right place for you to go, and how do you feel about being associated not only with MMA but being able to be associated with an all-female promotion? And since you said that you have a few names that you're looking forward to, DeAnna Bennett was one that struck out to me. But what are some of those names, and are some of them some of the prospects like Zoe Nowicki that they have in Invicta FC?
Yeah, absolutely. So first, to answer your first question, being a part of Invicta is something that's kind of really close to the heart here because obviously MMA was something I fell in love with when I was 14, 15 years old. I ended up taking a different career path for the last decade, but it kind of feels very nostalgic and very close to home coming back to an MMA organization. And it wouldn't have just been anyone. It was the way that I connected organically with Invicta and Shannon Knapp specifically. I love everything that these women do here and everything that they represent. I think it's an amazing organization that is leaps and strides for the women's evolution in sports in general, like I was saying earlier. And so to be a part of it feels like such a right fit. And I'm really just happy to be here with these women surrounding me. And then your second question was, I'm sorry.
My second question was, you mentioned that there were some names that were sticking out to you. Obviously,
Yeah.
DeAnna Bennett being the vet that she is for Bellator, that's one that jumps out off the card to me. But I also asked if you know much about some of the prospects that they have in the company, like a Zoe Nowicki.
So I'm not gonna lie, I was doing my homework here, and as I was watching some of these girls fight, Quinn Williams was someone who really stuck out to me.
Nice.
She's only had a few pro fights. She does have quite an impressive amateur record, but what I really liked about her was, again, bias, but that blend between having that aura and that kind of swagger when she's in the cage. She, takes girl down and then the girl pulls guard and she's like, no, get the hell up. We're going to stand and strike. She kind of has that confidence and that edge about her that I really enjoy watching. I think it's entertaining. Plus, she's like a stud natural athlete and she's not taking on a slouch. Ashley Barrett herself is an absolute beast. She had a great last few fights and I think she's got a lot to prove still. They're both only a few fights into their pro career. So that's going to be my pick for my kind of underdog match of the night.
So I had one other question for you. So with you coming from the world of pro wrestling and me being in with both worlds myself, one thing that I've always thought that not just MMA, but boxing and a lot of them could use that would be helpful from the world of pro wrestling, and with what we've seen with Dana White putting his head with the TKO thing. What are your thoughts on, do you remember the old school entrances like they used to have in the UFC, like where they used to have the octagon and the ramp and all that stuff that they'd walk down to? I would love to see some of the entrances, kind of find its way back to MMA, give it a little more pageantry. You coming from wrestling back to MMA, what are your thoughts on that?
Listen, again, might be biased, but I love the glam and the glory. Listen, you need to back it up. The second that you get in the cage and that door locks, you have to be able to back it up or else none of that's cool, right? We're athletes at the end of the day. But when you come in with a little edge about you, you can, talk some shit in your way in. Like I'm all about that because at the end of the day, we're selling tickets and we're making stars.
You can't say it better. I say it all the time. MMA fighters sometimes do pro wrestling better than pro wrestling does when you see two people get going back and forth. The last question I got for you before I get out of here is with you coming in to Invicta and now being on a commentary point of view. I do a lot of commentary here in the state. With that being said, how much footage are you having to watch for this? Do you find yourself having to kind of like re-put yourself up on things so you can know the different transitions? Have you trained the whole time you were in WWE so you're still sharp on it? How much has gone into that with the whole commentary role?
So yeah, I've gone back and I've been watching a lot of MMA. My wife currently hates me because we get into bed at night and I have like my iPad, my phone. I'm like taking notes while I'm watching because I really want to do it justice. And have watched Megan and Julie do it weekly and I mean at each show and I watch how great of a job they do. So just to honor them and the organization, I want to be able to live up to the name. So yes, I have been studying my time in WWE. I was not actively training. It was kind of like a weird thing where I felt like I had to shut that switch off when I decided to do pro wrestling and give it my all. So now that I'm on the other side of things, I'm definitely looking forward to getting back on the mat in some form or fashion.
Well, thank you so much to the Knockouts and Three Count podcast. I love those questions. But next up, we're going to bring in George from the What Do You Call It podcast to ask his next couple questions. George, welcome in. Hello.
Hi. Thank you. Thank you.
What have you got for us?
Right, so, yeah, thank you for this opportunity. So, Daria, my question would be, who in the TNA Knockouts division would you like to see in the octagon for Invicta FC?
Oh, a little crossover?
Yeah?
We like a little crossover.
That's hard. I'm going to call out one of the newest knockouts because she's a friend of mine and I love her and she's hilarious. I'm going to say Indy Hartwell.
Nice, nice. I
She's
think
got
she'd be
she would have a great reach advantage. She has a great
yeah.
build. She's strong. She's athletic. She's young. I mean, I'm just saying, I could see it.
She's got the personality as well, so she sell tickets as well and promote.
100%. Yeah, she gets the full picture. Yeah, she'd be great.
Awesome. Just another quick question, then I'll shoot off. If you were to fight again in MMA, I know you said about training earlier, you didn't have the luxury of doing it in WWE in terms of training as much, but now you're so pretty much free to do what you want to do. What division would you do if you were to fight again? Because I know you did flyweight previously.
Honestly, so yeah, when I fought amateur, I fought at 125, obviously same day weigh, and it's a little different. I think I would fare best at 115, but I don't know if I could get down to 115. I might be like skin and bones at that point. So yeah, 115, 125.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for your time, guys, and I hope everyone has a great afternoon. Take care.
No worries. Thank you so much, George. Also,
No
before
worries.
we bring in our next media person, just a reminder to do like a virtual wave in the Zoom so we can kind of make sure that we're getting to you and so you're able to ask your questions. So next up, we're going to bring in Hope from the Pro Wrestling Post.
Hi.
Hello, welcome. How are you?
I am excited and a little bit nervous. I've been a fan of both of you for some time, so I thank you
Sweet,
for
sweet.
allowing me to ask this question. Ms. Daria, I'm taking it a little bit different, but I think it's important with what's going on in the world now. With so many releases recently in WWE, with releases, frankly, across federal government and various other entities, and looking at how you're soaring and thriving, what advice would you give to someone who recently lost their job for whatever reason, who's giving up, who doesn't know which way to go? And I just think coming from you, it could very well make a difference because this video is going to have a lot of eyes.
Thank you for asking that. I do think it's an important question. First and foremost, I would say stay above the noise. I think a lot of the time, you can kind of get, if you're going through something difficult, like losing a job, you can kind of get stuck in the now and the icky feeling of rejection and doubt. But just remember what got you where you were in the first place, and it's never the end. We are all created different, and there's only one you. You can't try and be anybody else. You won't fit in their place. So just hone your uniqueness and your individuality and realize that there's only one you and no one can replace that. So chapter 2 is what I'm calling my next venture. And I encourage everyone to think of it the same way. Maybe it happened for a reason because you were in the wrong place. Maybe there's something better on the other side. And I feel like believing in yourself before everybody else does is kind of my superpower that I've always lived by. So there's going to be doubters out there, no matter what level of the game you're at. Block out the hate, do what you know you can do best, because only you know what you're truly capable of. The rest only see it once you win.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Have fun. And I look forward to seeing you both around. Thank you again for taking
No
my
worries.
question.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hope. Before we bring this next person in, I just want to send a little bit of a reminder, guys. We do have a lot of media wanting to ask questions. So if we could only limit it to one question and then a follow-up, that would be greatly appreciated, and we would love you so very much. So we're going to bring in Steph from 3W and the Last Word on Sport next. Steph, hello.
Hi, Megan. Hi, Daria.
How are you? Good. What have you got for us?
I had to close the blind because it's too sunny in France. So I look like a mob. I'm sorry.
No, not
I'm
at
not
all.
very into MMA things. I'm very much a wrestling women, if we can say it like that. We are three women at this very moment. I'm a writer, announcer, commentator, and fighter. What does it mean to you when you see now that there's an all-women promotion? When you were a young fighter a few years ago, were you expecting something to happen, that one day a MMA company, there will be an all-women, women-only MMA promotion? Thank you, Daria.
Okay. Yeah, I think growing up wanting to be a fighter was back in 2011 when I started. And yeah, women were not fighting in the UFC. There wasn't much women representation in MMA. And I think seeing Invicta come along and create this huge opportunity, like I said, where stars can be born, where you can be seen, where you can be taken care of, and where most importantly, you can get some incredible badass matchups. It's so important. And I think, like I said before, Invicta has really been at the forefront of that evolution in women's MMA. And really a lot of credit is due to people like Shannon Knapp and Megan and Julie that came before us. So yeah, it's very exciting to have this here. I'm excited for Invicta FC 62.
I really think I see you as a revolutionary in some ways. The more women are doing, the best we are. Thank you.
No, thank you so much, Steph.
Bye.
Okay, then the next person we're going to bring in is John from Slam Wrestling in Canada.
Hello,
John,
Daria.
welcome. How
Hi,
are you?
great to be talking to you both.
What have you got for us?
Daria, I want to know, with someone with, you got performance and combat sports experience, what unique insights are you hoping to bring to the commentary booth? And do you think there's a different dynamic when it comes to all men's and all women's commentary booth? What do you hope is going to happen?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, listen, I will say this. The second I met Megan, we hit it off. She won't admit it. She doesn't like to smile or put me over much, but we became.
I was like, are we the same person?
I was like, did we just become best friends? So honestly, I'm excited to have fun. I feel like we're gonna riff off each other really well, all three of us. And yeah, what does the all women commentary bring that men do not? Well, I think the three of us, to an extent, have insight into what it takes to be a woman's fighter, a female fighter. So I think we can have that kind of instinct and that insight into the women's head that are in the cage at the moment. So I think that's a bit unique about us.
I want to add to that if I can. I feel like
please.
Somebody who has competed in MMA my entire career, there is a very stark difference in the way that women move and the way that men move. And I take a lot of that from, I was in the featherweight division, so there wasn't a lot of women my size. So I was predominantly training in men, and the strength, the speed, there's a noticeable and discernible difference between men and women. So, I mean, you can watch, as a man watching women and you think, oh, why aren't they doing this? Why aren't they doing that? I'm like, it's just different. And we can speak to that from personal experience.
I was going to say, Daria, and what is your past experience in the WWE and MMA? What do you think that's going to bring to your commentary experience? Because it's a whole new world for you.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully just, having the tenure in entertainment background and knowing what it takes to kind of get a crowd riled up or make them hate you. Hopefully none of the hate over at Invicta, being that it would be real. But
Yeah.
no, I'm excited to kind of just use that tenure experience to hopefully communicate to the fans in a way that they find to be informative and entertaining and have fun with the girls along the way.
Well, thanks, Daria, and all the best of luck into your new pursuits. Can't wait to watch you and hear, listen to you too.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, John. Okay, we're going to bring in Pedro from the Lucha Libre Online next.
Thank you for your time, ladies. And Daria, I know you have background martial arts, and now that you did the WWE and you're going now to Invicta, talk to me a little about your mindset going now to MMA again. And it's the mentality still. I love this quote: square up, put your hair and square up. Is that the same mentality?
Yeah, put your hair up and square up. Let's go. Yeah, it's kind of like I was talking about earlier. It's very full circle, and it feels like the right move. Everyone, keeps asking like, what's next? What's next? And I think I kind of found my answer for right now. It feels right. It feels like something that just makes a lot of sense. I'm passionate about MMA. I always have been. I love to perform. I love to entertain, and I have, the gift to gab. So I'm excited to kind of mix that all in a bowl and give it to Invicta MMA.
Best of luck at this new commentary.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Pedro. Okay, now we have Lucas from freelance journalist, who is a freelance journalist in France. So let's bring Lucas in.
Hello, Darius, Megan. I hope you can hear me well. Thanks so much, Daria, for taking the time to answer our questions. Can you hear me good?
Yes,
yeah, of course.
Can. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Daria, in the main event on Friday for Invicta FC 62, Katharina Lehner will face Olga Rubin in a must-see fight. Rubin has lost her last 2 matches in Invicta, whereas Lehner has won her last 1. Do you think that this confidence factor can play a role into Friday's match? And how excited are you to watch this bout in particular?
Yes, first and foremost, I think confidence is a huge part of fighting. I always use Ronda Rousey as the example of that. When she was in her prime and she would enter the cage, I always would say she won before she even fought, just because mentally she was so confident. So yeah, I think that's a huge thing. I don't know that Olga Rubin's lost her confidence just yet. I think she's probably coming into this with the mentality that this is a must-win fight, and hopefully that just ignites the spark under her that she needs to get the W, and proceed on in the division.
Thank you very much for your answer. If I may, just a quick follow-up. We've seen Invicta FC growing up in popularity over the last few months, especially thanks to the broadcast deal with CBS Sports in the US. What would you say to someone who has never watched Invicta FC to convince him to tune in on Friday?
I would say from my experience watching and being a fan of Invicta, it is where the must-see fights happen for women's MMA. It's where stars were born. I said it before. I don't think you can name many women in MMA history that have not come through or still are a part of the Invicta family. So from top to bottom, the cards are always impressive. Shannon Knapp knows what she's doing, as well as the entire Invicta team. And I would say it's a much-watch event every single time.
Well, can't wait to hear both of you on Friday, and best of luck in this new adventure for you, Daria.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lucas. So we're going from France to the UK. So we have a little bit of an international flavor to the teleconference. We're going to bring in Adam from Hitting the Turnbuckle next.
Hi, Daria. Hi, Megan.
Hello, how
Hey,
are
Adam.
you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you both?
Very well.
Doing good.
Just a couple of quick questions. I'll make it very brief and quick for you. You mentioned before that you've done your research on Invicta, but also I was wondering if you've had any advice from Megan or anyone in the commentary field in wrestling as to what you can bring to your game on Friday. And also, as a follow-up, I mean, is the next evolution for Invicta maybe to bring this across the pond so we can see it over here in the UK?
That sounds exciting. I hope so. Yeah, I plan on getting Megan in a hotel room sometime before the fights and really picking her brain. I was able to watch front row last fights and really see how her and Julie handled themselves. So yes, I'm excited to hopefully learn on the job. I have not made any calls to past commentary people from WWE, but maybe that's a good idea. Maybe a little Michael Cole, give Michael Cole a ring.
Brilliant. Thanks so much and good luck on Friday.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Adam. So we're going to be bringing in Brian from the PW Torch. Brian, hello. How are you?
For having me, ladies. How are y'all doing today?
Doing good.
Good.
Fantastic. I don't know how often you either of you get this question, but it's 2025. How close do you think we are in the mixed martial arts field for the women actually to get a heavyweight division at this point? I know that's probably like an ongoing topic amongst just like the promotions as a whole. Because it's 2020, it's 2025. Everyone's different shapes and sizes, and everyone's beautiful. All across the world, and I would just find it fascinating if there was actually a heavyweight division, because I could only imagine as a male how hard it is to train, but you as female fighters, I could imagine that just being so stressful because you're always worried about your physical appearance and how stressful that is as well. But I would welcome any thoughts from either of you, really.
Give that one to you, Megan.
I think what it is numbers, right? That there needs to be people to fill out a division. And Invicta is the only organization right now that has 145 pounds. That's the heaviest weight class across all promotions, essentially. So, you're talking about heavyweight. We need to fill out a 155, a 170, a 185, a 205 before we get heavyweight. So it really just comes down to, is there enough talent in those divisions to build out a division? And I'm sure that there are one-off fights here and there. Like I know as amateurs, there's more of like okay, none of us really want to cut weight. We both kind of walk around here. Let's just fight it this way. I know that happens a little bit more regularly, but to kind of switch to the professional side of things, there needs to be a division. And if there's not really a lot of women to fill it out, then there's the likelihood of people or organizations implementing the division is very unlikely.
Gotcha. And do you find are people actually like looking for that division, or have you had any people actually say, "Hey, I'm 185, but I don't have a division where I could actually fight for Invicta"?
I personally haven't spoken to anyone like in terms of this. I know that another organization had a 155 division, but a lot of them were 145s going up.
Gotcha.
And because they just didn't want to cut as much weight. And I feel like that happens so much is, we see it on The Ultimate Fighter. A lot of both men and women, they go up a weight class because they got to cut weight potentially 3 times in 6 weeks, which the toll on the body for that is very tough.
Right.
So a lot of them go up and then they drop back down. So, and I would never like prevent somebody from getting those opportunities and getting those eyes, because at the end of the day, this is a very selfish sport. It's just you in there. It's an individual sport. You might train with a team, but you have to put your career first and your best interest. So like, go get those eyes on you. Go, potentially win, X, Y, or Z. But if there's no real numbers in those divisions, then like most of them are probably going to drop.
Gotcha. Well, thanks. That's all I had. I appreciate it.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to bring in Daniel from Massive Hits Radio.
Hey, can you see me okay? Everything good?
Yes, we can.
Amazing. Just a quick question, Daria. Obviously, you're stepping back into the MMA world. Just been mentioning just before that you're doing a lot of research trying to catch up. What's changed in that industry stepping back in?
Oh, that's a good question. So something I noticed watching a lot of fights this week was that when I started training mixed martial arts, to find an MMA gym, an all-encompassing mixed martial arts gym, it was almost impossible. Typically, you would start at a boxing gym and then you would try to find someone who did jujitsu, etc. Now these girls are starting in the 8th grade, 9th grade in a full mixed martial arts gym. So I'm noticing that their technique and their well-roundedness in the cage is developing so much faster and it's so much more technical, which is what I've always loved about the sport. People would be like, "Oh, it's so barbaric, you're hitting each other." I'm like, "No, it's so technical. It's all about, it's like a game." And so being able to see these women come up in that and have those technical abilities so much younger is a really cool thing and definitely a big change from when I was training.
And one follow-up question, just to be a little bit nosy. How did this opportunity with Invicta come about?
Well, me and Shannon Knapp slid in each other's DMs. I'll leave it there.
Fair enough. Thank you for your time, both of you.
No worries. Thank you so much, Daniel.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to bring in the Wrist Locks and Long Talks. I'm assuming podcast. Love the name.
Love the name.
Hello, how are you?
I'm not bad. How are you?
Doing good. What have you got for us?
So, Daddy, you went on about how you started off a good few years ago, but who inspired you to do that? But also with your background with MMA and WWE and like wrestling, how do you feel that'll help you when you move to the commentary side?
I'm sorry, who inspired me to do what? Which part?
Who inspired you to get into like MMA and wrestling?
Oh, okay. Well, I grew up watching the Chris Cyborgs and the Gina Carano's. That was kind of the time when I was in high school watching mixed martial arts, and I was fascinated. Gina Carano specifically, I just felt like representation in her. I don't know. I could just see myself in her and just the way that she carried herself and was doing these poised interviews, but then getting in the cage, locking the door and kicking the shit out of these women. Like I wanted that. I was like, I want to do that. And so that was kind of what inspired me to get into MMA. And then pro wrestling was kind of something that just organically came across my path, as weird as that sounds. I was out in LA training MMA and I got a call from a friend of mine talking about the reality show Tough Enough, which was like a competition series. And I was like bartending and broke at that time. So I was like, oh, that sounds fun. I'll go do a competition show. And so I went on the show not thinking I would ever get on the actual show. I went to the tryout and I ended up getting on it. And then I ended up falling in love with professional wrestling. And so I actually had an amateur title bout scheduled for the same time, thinking I wasn't going to get on the show. So I had a decision to make, and when you're broke bartending in LA, the decision became easy. I was going to get a steady paycheck. And and that's how I moved into the world of professional wrestling.
Yeah, and so just with the second part as well, so with having the background of both, how do you feel that's going to help when you go to commentary on Friday?
Yeah, I definitely think it gives me a different perspective. Obviously, Julie and Megan are the experts inside the cage, having competed at such high levels for such a long time. But I think from an entertainment aspect and maybe, seeing something a little bit different in these fighters or helping to provoke something a little bit different in these fighters is kind of my goal and intention, bring out sides of them that maybe they didn't even know they had, and help them kind of get to that next level.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to bring in Lee from Alive Radio 107.3, who is a big supporter of both Invicta and TNA. Lee, welcome in. How are you?
I'm grand, Megan. Thank you so much for taking the time yourself as well, Daria. You mentioned earlier in the press pack a lot of chatter coming into this week's event, a lot of new eyes coming to Invicta. We even saw Invicta get a shout out on DNA Impact this week. Here in the UK, this event is going to be on YouTube pay-per-view. if people are thinking of parting with their cash for the very first time, why should they stay up until the wee small hours, and what can they expect this weekend?
Sorry, you were breaking up a little. What can they expect for Invicta this weekend?
What can they expect, and why should they pay their money on their pay-per-view this weekend for a first time out there?
Yeah, well, like I said before, and I don't mean to sound redundant, but this is truly what I believe. I believe Invicta is where women's MMA stars are born. And if you look at the history of women's MMA, and almost every notable name that we know today as being the best and most decorated have come through or are currently in Invicta. So if you want to see where stars are born and you want to see the most badass women in the world competing at the highest level, I would tune in.
Just on that one quick follow-up, if I may, how important do you think it is to get that support of Anthem and TNA and that cross-promotion to reach new audiences internationally?
I think it's so important, and I think that Invicta probably has a wider international audience than maybe we even realize. We've seen it with wrestling, and now we're seeing it with MMA. I think that we have diehard fans all over, and I'm excited to hopefully be a part of pulling that all in and giving all the fans from around the world exactly what they want to see.
Look forward to this weekend on pay-per-view. Ladies, thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank
Lee.
you so much, Lee. Before we bring in our next guest, I just want to kind of remind everyone, if you haven't raised your hand and you want to ask some questions, please do so now. We're going to be finishing up here in a little bit, so we want to make sure that we get to everyone before that. So now we're going to go to Ireland for Mark and the Irish Wrestling Entertainment.
Thank you very much. Hello, Daria. Hello, Megan. My name is Mark O'Brien. I'm from bodyslam.net as well as Irish Wrestling Entertainment. Really appreciate your time today. Daria, you've lived in two very real combat worlds, MMA and professional wrestling, and now you're stepping into a role where your voice is the weapon, not your fists. How do you want to define this next chapter of your career? With Invicta FC featuring an all-women commentary team for this card, how meaningful is that for you, not just as a broadcaster, but just as someone who's been breaking ground in combat sports for years?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I feel like this next chapter of my life is really kind of me continuing to build my legacy and continuing to blaze my path in this world. And like I was saying earlier, it just feels like such a right fit. It feels like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And I feel like all my experiences in both worlds have led me to exactly this place. And I couldn't be surrounded by better people. So I'm really just blessed and grateful to be on this journey. And I think this is just, Invicta FC 62 is just the beginning.
Amazing. Well, listen, I personally can't. I'm really excited to watch it this Friday night, so I'm wishing you all the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mark. Okay, we're going to bring in Kayfab Central. I think I hope I pronounced that right. Thank you. It's the accent. I just got the accent.
Yeah,
so sorry, my bad.
It's the accent.
Josh here from Kayfabe Central. Megan, Daria, it's good to see you both. Daria, having worked weigh-ins at Invicta FC 61 and now commentary for FC 62, what have you learned about Invicta's athletes that has surprised you?
Oh, that surprised me. I can't say much that surprised me because I think very highly of these women and I kind of know what they're out here doing. And I understand it because I was once there, but they're here for one reason. These girls are here to make a name for themselves. And I think they all kind of understand that at this point. And when they get an opportunity to be on a card, an Invicta card, they understand the importance and the magnitude of it being on CBS Sports, broadcast nationwide, worldwide. So I think they get it. And I think they really understand what it's going to be like to be on a card like this. And it's just a lot of passion and a lot of fight in them.
Awesome. Thank you. That's all for me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to bring in Rocco from the Grue room.
Hey.
Hello, how are you?
How's it going? Good.
Good. What have you got for us?
For Daria, like, I want to ask, for someone who actually train very hard for this, because I tried doing like the mixed martial arts and it was like a lot for me, and I applaud you for all the hard work and hard training you do for it. Is there anyone like you would love to fight for for this? Like, is there anyone you would love to get in there and test your training with?
Oh,
I love this
that's
question.
yeah, this is hard. Who would I want to fight?
Yes.
Megan's a badass and 3 weight classes above me, so that's out of it.
I could never.
I don't know. That's a really hard question because now I'm thinking of iconic veterans that I'd want to fight just for the nostalgia of that and to be able to say I did. And then the current rosters are stacked across the board. So I don't know. That's really hard. I'm going to go like in a magical world, just dream opponent based on, from when I was a child, Gina Carano, because she was an idol of mine.
Okay, cool. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
No worries. Thank you so much, Rocco. Okay, we have SP3 of True Heel Heat.
Hello, ladies. How you doing?
Hello, welcome in. What have you got for us?
I just wanted to ask Daria, with all the experience that you had, in the professional wrestling world, and you've mentioned Michael Cole in the past, and I've heard you on commentary in the past, and you've had different roles like a manager and authority figure. How, like, those roles in professional wrestling you think is going to help you, or what did you learn in those roles that will help you as a commentator for Invicta?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that I've learned in my 10 years in WWE was the ability to improvise. It being a live show, there was no second takes. It was like if you had a script to memorize and you forgot your lines, you had to figure it out there. Same with doing commentary. And when I was in the GM role, sometimes the script would be 5-6 pages and we're going live at 7 and we get, at 8 and we get the script at 7:45. So a lot of that was just learning to be confident and know what you're talking about so that you can say what you need to say when the time comes. So I'm hoping I garnered enough skills there to transition me over to commentary and Invicta.
So one other follow-up question. Since you have this partnership with Invicta and TNA Wrestling, is there any chance that you will make an appearance to kind of bring over some fans from TNA over to Invicta?
Wait, there's a partnership?
Or association. Some association.
I'm joking. No, because that's the elephant in the room. Everyone's asking about. Yes, of course. I think that there's a huge opportunity for crossover. We had Invicta champion Moose at the last event, so that was really cool. And I don't know, maybe I'll go to a TNA event soon. Who knows? Maybe I'll bring Megan with me.
Your bodyguard.
Have you been to one?
We did discuss this. We did.
Yeah.
I haven't been to one. No, but we did discuss this.
We're gonna be a tag team.
What our tag team would be. Yeah.
I need to know your tag team name. I'm sorry, I had to ask that.
That's still a work in progress. We haven't got
to be
that far.
determined. Yeah, we just said that I would talk the crap and Megan would fight my fights for me. Yeah, she would just destroy everybody.
Thank you so much, ladies. Appreciate your time.
No worries.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Okay, we're going to bring in George from the Wrestling Chatter, who will be our final question for the teleconference. George,
I know why she's laughing. Wow, I'm good. How are you,
an
Megan?
old friend of mine. Oh my God, you're so silly that you're on here.
I am here to bring up the fact that you were at an Invicta show a little over 10 years ago. I even have a cute little picture from, that
I
day
said
prior to
that.
the ring light.
You brought me, George.
My Shayla. She's just a baby.
Yeah, we all went together.
George. Yeah.
So my question for you, and I do have a follow-up, is what is this like now, maybe going a little full circle, being in the crowd as a fan, or not just as a fan, but, we were on this side, or you were on this side of the railing, I guess, asking questions to Fabricio Verdun. I think DeAnna Bennett was also on the card as well. So what is it like now full circle? Yeah, exactly. What is it like full circle now being on that side and being on, now, on air Invicta talent doing the commentary and whatnot?
I don't know. You just made me really happy that you came on here and reminded me of that, because I was telling the story earlier and I was like, when was that? But we went together to an Invicta fight back in the day when we were hosting, our MMA podcast and I was actively fighting. And yeah, it's kind of surreal. It's kind of surreal. It's making me a little emotional, I'm not going to lie, just to have gone the course that I've gone the last 10 years, and to be back here in a different way, and hopefully a way that will be impactful and meaningful both for me and for the company. So I'm excited, and yeah, it's very nostalgic.
So speaking of which, when is Invicta coming back to Los Angeles? I think it's time to, Kansas City is getting a little too much Invicta. Come on back to Los Angeles here and there.
That's true. We got to talk to Shannon, Megan. We're not in charge of that, but
I was like, that's above my pay grade.
That's above our pay grade, but we got to talk to the boss lady, because yeah, that would be pretty cool. Where was it, George, when we went?
It was at the Shrine Auditorium, which was
yeah,
so right near USC.
Okay.
But there's a lot of venues. Megan, tell your bosses up high that Los Angeles is craving for an Invicta show here and there.
I think you think I have more power than I do. I really
But you do have their contact infos.
Oh, that's a valid point.
We do.
Daria, you have them too.
We do.
No,
but yes, thank you so much. Obviously, Daria, happy for you. Like I said, it does feel like a full circle moment now that you're part of the Invicta team. So can't wait to watch that, and can't wait to hear your insight that I've been known for over a decade already.
Thanks, George. Love you.
Thank you so much, George. Guys, well, thank you to everyone who tuned in and who joined us for this teleconference. It was amazing to have so many questions from all around the world. Absolutely love having Daria with us, and the insight that she can provide, transitioning from, MMA to pro wrestling, and the entertainment factor that you can bring to the broadcast. I'm very excited, but guys, make sure to tune in to Invicta FC 62. Lehner versus Rubin goes down live this Friday, 16th of May. Main cast starts at 8 p.m. Eastern time, only on CBS Sports Network. So we'll see you guys then, guys.
Thanks, guys. Bye. Thanks, Megan.
Something